Hello everybody, welcome to 99 TV. I have with me the great Mrs. Lakshmi Puri ji. She is a veteran diplomat, and apart from her successful journey being a diplomat, she's now produced a beautiful historical fiction book which is now translated into Telugu, regional languages across the nation along with national language. So now I have this opportunity with me to interview her to know more about the insights about the book and her journey. So here we go. Namaste ma'am.
Namaste.
How are you?
A pleasure to be with you. Station about the book.
All the pleasure is mine, ma'am. We are very lucky to have you today in our show. So, you being a diplomat, you must have traveled many countries across the world. So, your traveling experience, your observations and experience in being that place, how does it all differ and still make India feel great and unique when compared to the rest of the countries in the world? What do you have to say about this?
There is no place like India.
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, I once did a calculation of how many countries I've visited. And I counted 76 at least. Some of them I have lived in, but others I have visited for work, a few for tourism, but mostly work, because as you know, I was an Indian diplomat for 28 years, representing India in different countries, and then I was with the United Nations for 15 years. And I always missed India, and what kept me connected was music, films, books, and I think that's why when I decided to, after my career was over, I had retired, I came back to India having spent half my life outside it. In 2018, and I had started a novel, writing this novel that is the Swallowing the Sun. I had started writing that when I was ambassador in Budapest. 100 pages and I gave up. I was daunted by the task. And also I felt that I was too busy with other things and I couldn't really get inside me, because to write a novel, you really have to get inside of yourself and your consciousness and in a way shut out the world.
Correct.
So that I could not manage. So 22 years later or 20 years later, I picked up the pen again. Literally in this case, I picked up the iPhone and restarted my writing journey. And many people have asked me, your question I thought was going to go in another direction. How come you've been a diplomat, you have seen the world, you have experienced stories about other nations and cultures, and yet you come back and write something so rooted, that also rooted in both Marathi culture and literature, which has not been done before, and also so rooted in India. So as everybody says, it's a quintessentially Indian story. So why did you do that? So I always say it's because, what you lose, what you miss,
Correct.
comes back to claim you.
How sweet. How
Yes,
well
that's
said.
what what happened. And it's also a question of my always maintaining my Indian soul and Indian identity through all my wanderings and my professional career.
All your words are now prompting me to once again say, Hamara Bharat Mahan.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hamara Bharat Mahan indeed. और महान ताकि और बढ़ रहा है.
Exactly, ma'am. Exactly.
And 2047, I always keep saying, is our destination.
Yes. So as you said about the book, it has been the talk of the town and people have been talking about it. So what prompted you to title the book Swallowing the Sun?
So this is based on a Mukta Bai, who's a 13th century saint, her Abhang, her Ovi.
Right.
and I know that in Telugu land there is so much of cultural immisceration with Marathi culture, Marathi. So I'm sure you're aware of the Abhang tradition.
Yes.
The various sons, Namdev and others. So she wrote an Abhang, which is a surreal poem, and which I found as a child. It was introduced to me, and then suddenly, as I was writing this novel, in a way, Chandi Devi, as she is now called, Muktabai came in my dreams with this OV and said, you know, this should be the theme of your book. And what is the theme? If I may, I will recite that OV and then explain.
Please, yes, ma'am.
So it is Mungi udali akashi, Tine gilde suryashi, Thor navlav zhala, Vansputra prasavla, Vinchu patalasi zai, Shesh matha bandi pai, Mashi vyali, Ghar zali, Dekhoni muktai hasli. So the ant flies into the sky. Imagine the audacity. Flies into the sky. She swallows the sun.
Ah.
Yes, and a barren woman gives birth to a son. The scorpion burrows down to the nether realms, and the snake king Shesha bows down at its feet, and the housefly begets a hawk. And Muktabai sees all, and Muktabai laughs. So the miracle making that this represents is what this book is about. Making the impossible, seemingly impossible, possible. And having faith, having daring to do that, and keeping, persisting with it till you get your end game. Till you get your end, win your battle, till you cross those boundaries, those impossible seeming boundaries. And, so that is the idea. And my characters, particularly Malti, of course, but there are a number of, a constellation of women characters who do that. Who try to do that. Sometimes it ends in triumph, sometimes in tragedy, sometimes a mix of both. But that's life. But the point is that also at the national level, they are trying. At that time, this is set in the period of 1918 to 1950. So it's an epic saga covering these 30 plus years. So in that period of the freedom struggle, imagine how our leaders and the young people, by the way, this is a book about young people, for young people, and in fact it's about what they do.
Exactly.
Their lives, their love, their losses, their overcoming the oppression of and racism of colonial existence, and building self-confidence, overcoming self-doubt, conquering all of that. So it is these amazing young people. So it's about that. And then what happens is that they are also in their own way rising above their ordinary and suppressed existence and trying to achieve the impossible in terms of achieving the idea of India, or the idea of from a civilizational state that is India to the political territorial idea of India. That is what they were trying to do at that time. That also seemed impossible in 1920, 1925, even 1930s. It seemed impossible. Lord Irwin said that for 600 years it will take for India to become free, because Indians can't do this, manage this. So they achieved the impossible. They swallowed the sun. They did manage. In 1947, yes, there was tragedy, yes, there was partition, but we did become a free country. So that is the message and theme of
Swallowing
the book
the Sun.
of Swallowing the Sun.
But now I've come to understand after a deep conversation with you that we have learned few points about you, ma'am, that you have been a trailblazer, a path breaker, a groundbreaker since childhood. So all those ideas within you have set up a maturity level to inspire the youngsters, the younger generation, and as you said, the reaching and getting that impossible making possible through your book. That's clearly conveyed from your book. You being a historical student, ma'am, how do you compare our nation before independence as per the timing in your book?
So you've asked, as as you have been doing, you've asked a very important, it's at the heart of my novel, because it is historical fiction. But I believe as a history student that it is really, history is about shaping our present and prophesizing our future. Is a prophet of the future, for the future generations. So I believe strongly that the young people that I have portrayed, and against that tumultuous background of the freedom struggle, that they have so much to, the present generation has so much to learn and be inspired by that generation.
Yes.
So that is one of my motivations, but I think it has really hit the target.
Absolutely.
Because young people have loved this novel, and not only women but also men. So what are the aspects that I want to evoke for this present generation? One is that as young people, don't be only for yourself. Don't live within only your particular world, the narrow world. And these days with devices, etc., you're not even communicating
with the rest of the world.
Yeah, and you don't care about the rest of the world.
Absolutely true.
So I think the first thing is care about the rest of the world and shape it, and you can. So that is the main message. That generation was so active. So in the novel, I have shown how these young people, and the women were just getting to go to school, they were just getting to go to college, they were just getting to start to work and stand on their own feet, yes, be themselves. So that generation, plus the men were also, of course, engaging in, they were getting the Western education, but they were very much invoking their own cultural, literary traditions. They were also drawing a civilizational confidence from, awakening that was happening as soul force for the freedom struggle. So it's the same way that today's young people should be, as I call it, 5-dimensional.
What are the 5 dimensions you propose?
One is, of course, physically.
Yes.
Physically to be healthy and physical, emotionally empathetic.
That is what we are lacking these days.
Yes, it's so important. You will see these characters, how they interact with each other, how they have empathy for people, and how they in turn react to that empathy. Then the other, and how they fight situations where the other side, yes, exactly. Then the third aspect is, of course, intellectual.
Absolutely. You need to brush yourself.
You have to keep developing your intellectual capacities, and that means reading, that means doing research, not just forming opinions after reading a you know,
I get what you
Instagram
meant,
post
ma'am, absolutely.
or a WhatsApp message, because so much of fake things are going around.
Rather than depending upon a two-line message on the social
Exactly,
media,
yes.
you want people to research, know about it,
read and read books, because that is really something. And not only read about what is current, but also read about the past, because if you don't read about and know the past, you will keep repeating the mistakes of the past, and also you won't learn about the good lessons that the past teaches you for the future, for the present and for the future. So that is the other part. Then there is a the other aspect is the aesthetic aspect. The characters in this, they love drama, they love poetry, they love art, they have that sensibility. And then the last is, of course, spiritual.
So that's the 5-dimensional
So
thing.
5 dimensions of you. But apart from that, this novel is also an epic love story and a grand romance. And what I want the young people to read from this, how was it in those early days where women and men could freely meet? Can you imagine those days? So that was evoked, that how was it they began as friends, tentative friends, because for the first time both the women and the men were being able to meet in a setting which is outside the family, right? So that whole very interesting
Episodes,
yes, exactly. So they come to mind. And then how that transforms to love, and how that transforms to marriage. What does marriage mean? What does love mean? And not only, and I've tried to explore this elusive thing called love, right? But which I want to affirm is something worth fighting for, worth sacrificing.
Absolutely, you have all the flavors.
And worth investing in every way.
With your permission, I would like to start a campaign in the social media stating #youth should read this book.
Please. And so, how do you express love? And then that's the other thing. In the book, there are different expressions. Guru is very poetic. So he always evokes poetry whenever he wants to convey his love. And then on different occasions, and then there are the letters, the love letters that are in this, when they are separated for 3 years, because she goes to, she sacrifices her legal studies and goes to Banaras and becomes a professor at the Banaras Hindu University and supports him. See the role reversal. In those days, I'm talking about 1929.
Got it.
I'm nearly 100 years ago. And so he writes these very ardent, romantic, almost erotic letters to her, expressing, but it's also a reflection of the times. He talks about politics, he talks about economics, he talks about society, about friendships, their other friends. So it was to me a revelation, and these are based on my parents' actual letters.
Oh,
my father's
so
letters.
Your inspiration are your father's letters.
Also, but also because this book, people say, sings, so much poetry in it. My father was a poet and a playwright in his young days.
Wonderful.
But he never pursued it beyond. But he had this poetry book, which he gave to me, and which says, which has all his favorite poems, which he used to recite every evening to us, and each poem had a different tune, and he would make us just be immersed in.
Most of the poems must have been about his wife and about his children, ma'am, if I'm not wrong.
They were actually the poems of some of the great Marathi poets.
Achha, about the literature.
Literally.
Wonderful. Yes.
So some of them are there, and there is this poem where he proposes to her the first time. They are sitting on the beach, and he writes out the poem by Balkavi on the sand.
Sands of the beach.
On the sand, and then he takes her hand and makes her write. So that scene is this particular. If you, with your permission, perhaps I could recite.
Please, ma'am. Absolutely, we would love to listen from your.
मेघांचे करी भूर्जपत्र धरुनी अस्तांचली प्रत्यही स्वर्गीचे नवलेख कुंकुम रसे ती सांध देविली रात्री शांत गभीर अंबुनिधीच्या आनील पृष्ठावरी लज्जालेखली विकंपित करे ती तारका सुंदरी सारे ते मग लेख तुच्छ गमती चित्ताची आलोचनी तिचा क्षयलेख एकच उभा मी मग्न पारायणी.
I'm just enjoying your expressions and getting to know the meaning of what you actually mean of, ma'am. I'm just enjoying your expressions.
So there are a number of poems like that, and there is one, you were asking about young people. So there is one poem which is an anthem of sorts, which I always like to evoke, and it is a poem by M.V. Tilak, who really meant it as a kind of strengthening oneself against the world and standing up for oneself. So, and it's so applicable to also particularly women.
Yes, ma'am. That's the need of the hour.
So there is another one which says, मीश्वरांच्या जगत कारणाच्या खरे हे तुची पूर्णता मंगळ बोला हवे ते मला काय त्याचे पुरे जाणतो मीच माझे बळ माझे बळ माझे बळ. So basically this says that am I not complete and auspicious? Am I not complete and auspicious? The purpose of God's creation felicitous. It matters not to me what is your opinion. I well know my own strength, my own dominion. So that is what I want Indian youth today to really resonate with, because also to Prime Minister Modi, and I met today the Chief Minister, to evoke the Indianness within you and have that self-confidence, civilizational self-confidence, that it doesn't matter what the world says about.
You have to stand up for yourself initially.
Yes. Our strength. Now, I well know my own strength, my own dominion. So that is something that also comes through. But I think this novel is also another very important message that this novel gives. And by the way, it is through storytelling. It is not, as many people have noted, it is not a didactic, novel. It's not in your face messaging. It comes through the
Through a story.
storytelling.
Yes,
Through
and
the story.
and
the
that's
characters. And the characters.
and that's how people get connected also. Absolutely.
Because
ma'am.
one thing I've learnt in UN Women, I was leading this the first global organization to promote gender equality and women's empowerment called UN Women for 7 years in New York. And one thing I learnt was that advocacy and movement building requires storytelling. So unless you can tell live stories, to change mindsets will be impossible. So that is what I've tried to do through the characters of Malti and all the other women characters, Hema Kaki, Ambutai, Veena, the whole host of them.
Coming to that particular point,
yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but my
please.
question is there only.
Yeah.
Right from Malti to Hema Kaki to all
Ambutai
the women
yes.
characters,
yes.
your novel had a lot of powerful women characters in it.
True.
And it's a women-centric novel, we have to say. Yes. This is one side of the story, and the other side of the story being, even the men were in support of the women.
Very well said.
I
was just going to say, because one is storytelling, one is women coming out and claiming their agency and subjecthood.
Correct.
But there is the other side of it, that patriarchy, if it has to be demolished and restructured, so to say, then we need to have men standing up for women's rights and championing that. And in this, Baba, the father of Malti, then Guru, her friend, lover, husband, who deifies her, makes her a goddess. And I think this is very unique in India, and I wanted to bring that out, that it is unique in our culture that we deify women. We make them devis. So there is a beautiful poem which is there, which has been written by me. I'm saying it very humbly. That talks about how he consecrates her in the temple of his being as a goddess.
So was that your wishful thought about every man, how he has to be, man? Do you want that to happen in reality and you have put that into words?
Absolutely, because what happens is, so she is very, she's very overwhelmed by this worshipful love of his.
Who doesn't want to be
pampered?
Yes,
exactly, and putting her on a pedestal and so on. And he says, I shall be your worshipper always, and this is my pledge to you, and I shall defend your goddesshood against all those who doubt you. So, even that he says. And then what happens is that later on, when there are tensions between them, and she feels that he has gone astray from being a worshipper, she confronts him. And he says, but no, I still think you are a goddess. So she said, well, I'm a goddess not because of what you say. I'm a goddess because of who I am and what I have done for you. So, that is the essence of. So that other aspect of how men, even her brother-in-law Malik, who is a feudal lord, so they have this very conception, and who marries a 15-year-old, her sister, Malti's sister, who is a 15-year-old, as his bride, his second wife. But he is very liberal, he becomes liberal. He overcomes this patriarchal conditioning and supports their education, supports their going to work, so all of that is also a lesson to the young generation of men, that they have to be he for she. We had a campaign in UN Women which talked about how men should stand up for women's rights, and that they should then be crowned as he for she.
Wonderful. I wish
And
they should
by the
happen
way,
soon.
India, we had got the highest number of signatures, 1 million signatures for the he for she campaign.
So good to know about this, ma'am. So good to know.
Yeah. This was a campaign that was launched in 2014 with our Goodwill Ambassador, UN Women Goodwill Ambassador Emma Watson. So we went round the world, heads of state, making heads of state and government, including Prime Minister Modi, also in India, other men who joined this campaign. So this became a movement, global movement. And of course you engage fathers, because fathers of daughters are the first he for she's. So
As every girl feels, my father is my first hero.
Exactly. So, and he returns the favor.
Absolutely.
Because she is his heroine. So, and she is the hero for him. So this is something that is a very important, call out, shout out to young people today in how they treat women, whether in the family or outside. And I think that is very, very important.
Such a powerful and an engaging novel was given by you, ma'am. In fact, this is your debut work, and I would always wonder whether this is a debut novel or should have, what is your perspective of a novelist? Who a novelist should be like as per you?
Well, it is presumptuous of me to say what a novelist should be like. I think they should each be what they are and manifest themselves.
Manifest themselves. You
Isn't
believe in
it?
manifestation?
Absolutely. Manifest themselves as their own avatar, no? This is my tribute to my parents. I was inspired by them, their lives, that generation, which was extraordinary, which, were prophets without being called so. And I wanted to bring to this generation the beauty, the transcendental way these people live their lives. Bring that into this, to the present. So this novel was with me for nearly 4 decades. I had been planning to write it, and I've borne that agony within me. And once it came, once I was able to write it, it flowed. So although there is inspiration, it is also very much fiction. And the characters, the world I build around Malti, they are
People
very
just
much
mirror themselves reading your novel, I have to say.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, 100%.
Okay.
Which girl doesn't want a husband like Guru or a lover like Guru, I have to say. Now that the demands for a girls list also increases after reading your novel. And all the boys, you have to follow this novel for the typical girl want man types.
And so, so this is how this novel happened. And yes, I'm very pleased that it has become a national bestseller. And I really hope that the Telugu one becomes a bestseller, because
Absolutely, ma'am. People
it
will
has
love.
been beautifully translated by Krishna Raoji Garu, and it is also, I think today we had Kupili Padma Garu giving it, outlining her impressions of the novel, and I was so pleased to know that she felt that the soul of the novel had been really transported into the Telugu version
language.
so well. And Telugu is such a mellifluous language in itself.
How special
Such
is
a
Telugu
beauty.
to you, ma'am?
It's very special. It's very special. And you know, I could understand quite a lot because there's a lot of Sanskrit in it. And as I said, there is so much of also Marathi infusion. You know, there is a lot of, I would say, cross fertilization between Telugu and Marathi. So it is very special, and it is the first translation, by the way. So we are beginning with Telugu, not Marathi.
Yeah, that's so
So
special
Marathi
about
will
Telugu.
be end of this month in Mumbai. And yes.
Launching this book with the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, people just fall flat for him and his Pawan Kalyan Garu. So what do you have to say about him? You met him and this book was launched by him. What do you have to say about Pawan Kalyan Garu?
Well, I was blessed to have him launch the Telugu edition of my novel for several reasons. Quite apart from having a bursting house full
Correct.
and screaming fans, what was really important was that he is a leader of the people, but he is also, he's a multifaceted personality. He is an actor, he is in politics, he is a choreographer, he is a poet, he is a writer, he is everything. And he is a great advocate of literature and books. Because today he began his speech or his talk to his followers by saying, please read books.
అలాగే ఆమె సూర్యుని కబళించింది అని అంటే ఇది ఎంత ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ టైటిల్ అంటే ఆవిడని సూర్యుని కబళించడం ఏంటి, ఇలాంటివన్నీ ఫస్ట్ చదువుతాయి. మనకి చదివే వాళ్ళకి ముందేంటి ఎలా ఒక టైటిల్ ఎలా ఉండాలి అని అంటే అదేంటంటే అట్లాగా ఎప్పుడు ఒక పుస్తకం టైటిల్ అరే ఫిల్మ్ టైటిల్ ఏదైనా సరే ముందు మనల్ని ఉత్సుకత రేకెత్తించాలి. ఆవిడ ఒక డిప్లొమాట్, ఒక ఐఎఫ్ఎస్ చదువుకొని ఆవిడ డిప్లొమాట్, అలాగే ఫార్మర్ అసిస్టెంట్ సెక్రటరీ జనరల్ యుఎన్కి. ఆవిడ నుంచి మనం ఎలాంటి పుస్తకం ఆలోచిస్తాం జనరల్గా రాశారంటే ఇలాంటి పుస్తకం అయితే ఆలోచించాం. అంటే స్టార్టింగే మనకి మధుబాబు గారి షాడో నవల్స్ లాగా లాగిపెట్టి ఒకటి కొట్టాడని ఎలా వస్తుంది మనకి, ఒకవేళ వింటి నదుల బాణంలో ముందుకు పరిగెట్టాడు అనేది ఒక యాక్షన్తో స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఎనీ గుడ్ స్టోరీ షుడ్ క్యాప్టివేట్ యూ ఇమీడియట్లీ, షుడ్ గ్రాబ్ యూ ఇంటూ ద నెరేటివ్. అలాంటిది ఈ పుస్తకం మీరు చదవండి దయచేసి. ఈ పుస్తకం ఒక ఫెమినిజంకి డిఫరెంట్ అర్థాలు వస్తున్నాయి, కానీ ట్రూ మనకి ఎంపవర్మెంట్ అంటే ద గ్రేటెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇస్ లక్ష్మీ ముర్దేశ్వర్ పూరి గారు. ఆవిడ ఒక అంటే ఆవిడ రచయితను అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి మనం. ఎక్కడో మహారాష్ట్ర మూలాల నుంచి వచ్చిన ఆవిడ ఇలాంటి ఉన్నతమైన పదవులు పొంది ఆవిడ స్ట్రగుల్ కూడా దీనిలో కనిపిస్తే ఒకలాగా నా ఫీలింగ్ ఏంటంటే, ఐ డోంట్ నో మ్యామ్, యూ హ్యావ్ టు టెల్ మీ. A part of you should be there in this book, a part of your life, a part of your exposure, a part of your, I feel it is a semi-autobiography of yours. I think that's what you feel, I feel. That's more or less your life, right?
And please read this book. So he is actually a reader. Being a reader is a very important, criteria for me for having someone launch this. Apart from his own standing and gravitas and popularity, incredible popularity. So that was one. The other very important aspect about his launching this book to me, very precious aspect, is how he is a he for she.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And I myself in my speech quoted him saying that how can you say Bharat Mata ki Jai if you don't respect women. So that is something that comes through, shines through all. And then he has started this the Jhansi Stree Sena, the women's wing. And in his speech he also talked about how this book is about empowering women and empowered women making a difference to the
society,
world.
correct.
And to the world. So I think it was a dream come true. I couldn't have had a better launch, and I must also pay tribute to the publisher, Vijay Kumar Garu, and his MSCO Publications for having undertaken this. He just said, I'll take it on. And then I was lucky to have such a great translator. And so I think it's a perfect
all-in-one blend for this book to you.
Perfect avatar.
Correct.
Perfect avatar. And I really hope that before long it becomes a bestseller and sets new records.
New records, new trends, absolutely. Looking forward.
And of course, it's going to be a web series too.
Oh yes, ma'am. I had that question in me,
Okay,
so I have to come here with that. So that we have talked about Pavan Kalyan Garu. We have known that you also met the Chief Minister of the state, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu, and you have also given him the first copy of the book.
Yes.
So what was that experience like?
Well, I've long admired Chandrababu Naidu Garu, and I told him about how, as an ambassador, when I was traveling and representing India in different countries, I used to be very proud when he featured in the cover of Time magazine as one of the greatest leaders and visionaries. So it was, for me, meeting him itself was an honor and a pleasure. Of course, the fact that he met me and accepted from me my book and promised to read it is something that also gives me great pleasure and is very satisfying. And I look forward to his reflections on it. But again, he's someone who has been working for women's empowerment.
Talking about
in his policies, and also as we discussed a lot of that.
Yes.
That what are the policies and how does his vision, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is technology, because he's a visionary on technology and adapting that to India's and combining it with India's civilizational and cultural strength.
That's the beauty of Chandrababu Garu's leadership.
That's right. So we discussed a bit of that, and what really came through is that he wants to have both of these strands reflected in whatever he does for women's empowerment.
Talking about all the good vibes about your book, ma'am, your book got many awards, and it is also the best fiction novel selected by the Delhi Book Festival. So it also got the award there. How does all these awards and recognitions make you feel so special about?
Well, particularly for a debut writer, it is an affirmation that you seek, in the sense that you feel, oh, so it is valuable. Because yes, best-selling, national bestseller is an affirmation from readers, but you also want, and the critics have been also, almost universally, maybe one or two, but otherwise universally critics have praised it. And I have so far got 5 awards, Kalinga Literature Festival. The latest is the Value of Words Award. I'm going to receive it in Dehradun. Then the FICCI Best Fiction Award. So 5 of them I have got. But awards make you feel that there is a level of excellence that the book has registered with the literary community. So that's something, it's very, very, it gives me great satisfaction, and in all humility, And I thank God for that grace.
We are very, very, very happy for you, ma'am. And as you said, this book is now also hitting the silver screen. We have known about it, planning for some web series. Would you give the producers or the directors to add some color to your story, just to enhance their creative level?
Well, the producer is Vikram Malhotra's Abundantia Entertainment. So they have undertaken to produce a multi-season web series from this book. So let us see now how we go about. I think very important to find the right director, as they call it, the showrunner. Very critical will be the role of the script writer, and also who's going to be Malti. I've been asked this question.
Vikramji, please take me my application for playing the Malti character, please. I'm just joking, ma'am, because so much I am in love with that character.
Okay. Please do get into one of the roles there, because there are so many wonderful women featured in that.
Absolutely.
So yes, so he was also asked and I was also asked, because we just launched it on 29th. The web series agreement was finalized and launched on the 29th of September, 29th of September. So he was asked, so he said that whoever we choose and whoever chooses us for this role will have a role of a lifetime.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Because he said that the character is so vivid, so evocative, so powerful that it will be someone who has to both have the talent and also the passion and the good fortune.
Let me test my luck now. I have to immediately talk to Vikram ji now. And I need your recommendation to that, ma'am.
Of course.
Ma'am, can we also get to know what are your future plans? Any other book, the second book which is coming out from you, with your permission? What?
Well, I have a short non-fiction in play. It should be out in January. Also by Aleph Publications. This novel was published by Aleph Book Company, and which is headed by the legendary writer, author, and editor and publisher David Davidar. So the same book company is now bringing out my non-fiction. It's a short book called The Sari Eternal.
The Sari Eternal. Wow.
Yes.
Yes. So we are waiting for
So
it.
that is a non-fiction, but I'm also working on 2 other novels. But it's premature to say what the topics are, but one could be a sequel.
Oh wow, that's great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us this time in your busy schedules. Apart, we've been knowing that you have been traveling like hell to, promote this book, meet people, and then thank you so much for giving 99
Now,
TV.
we are also moving to Marathi, end of this month, Marathi release, and hopefully in January, Hindi. Translation.
First is Telugu. That's where we are feeling very proud about it. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me time to 99 TV.
Thank
All the
you.
very best. More
Thank
power
you so
to you.
much.
More health to
Wonderful
you.
talking to you.
All the pleasure is mine.